What's up everybody, Teancum here with Sew Yeah Quilting. Today in this video, I'm going to show you how you make these panel kids capes. Let's see them in action. Now that you've seen these capes in action, let's start on the project. For this project, what you'll need is 15 inches of coordinating fabric and 2 panels. This panel right here comes from Camelot, and the way that they make it is so that you have 2 panels per 18 inches. So I'm going to make it a double-sided cape. The first thing that we're going to do is start cutting these and creating our cape. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to cut my 2 panels apart from each other, grab my pair of scissors. So I'm going to cut these apart first. I'm going to just take my scissors and cut right along the fold here to separate the 2 panels. My next step is I'm going to take my 15-inch coordinating fabric and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to cut it right on the fold and separate this into 2 separate pieces, which this will make up the top of my cape. Now with both of these cut out, I'm going to lay them down right sides together. I'm going to square them up to each other. So I'm going to lay this here. I want to make sure I'm cutting off my salvages. So now that I know that I have both panels lined up, I'm going to take a ruler and my rotary cutter, and I'm going to square this guy up all the way around. Now that we've trimmed up both panels, these will be a perfect match to each other. Our next step is to attach our top portion of our cape for the neck hole. So I'm going to lay these out. And I'm going to take my coordinating fabrics that we've already cut, and I'm going to take this one, I'm going to lay it right on top of the Superman panel. Obviously we're going to have some excess here, so it's going to hang over a little bit on both sides, and obviously I have quite a bit of hangover on both sides. This is just so we have a little bit of wiggle room. So now I'm going to take this, I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch seam all the way down, and then I'm going to repeat this process to the other panel as well. So now that I have this sewn, I'm going to press this open and I'm going to repeat these exact same steps to the back or my other side of my cape. With both our panels sewn, what we're going to do next is we're going to lay them right sides together again, and I'm really focusing on making sure the panels themselves line up with each other. So I'm going to line these up nice and clean here. Now what we're going to do is down in the description below, we have instructions on how to make this, including a template. This template is the neck hole for our panel here, or for our cape here. I'm going to lay this down and I'm going to make sure that it's equal on both sides. And so I'm going to just measure to make sure. I'll use my ruler here. Now this next part, what we have to do, and this is kind of up to the person on how they like to do this, but we need to cut this angle right here. What I like to do is I like to line this up with my template, and then I like to come down as close as I can, about 1 inch away from my lettering on my panel here. That way I know I have plenty of room for my sew lines, and I'm not going to chop off my lettering. So I'm going to cut just like that, right up to my template. I'm going to do the same on the other side. And right here what I'm going to do is just lay down my ruler. I'm going to put a little mark on it. I'll use a pin here to know where I need to be. That way my cape here is equal on both sides. So I'm going to just stick that pin just like that through it. So now that I have the ends cut here, or my sides here cut, I'm going to flip them up out of the way, and now I'm going to pin down this template onto my fabric. That way it won't shift on me, and I'm going to take a pair of scissors and cut out the rest. Now that I have the neck hole of my cape cut out, what we're going to do is we're going to pin this all together. That way we can sew a 1/4 inch seam all the way around and leaving only a 5-inch gap at the bottom to turn it. I'll show you how to do that all right now. So now it's time to turn our cape right side out. Here's a little trick for anyone that has forceps, and also this is now becoming a popular tool in the quilting world. All we're gonna do is we're gonna put our forceps inside, and they're like little teeny clamps. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring it all the way up to the very tippy top of my cape here. I'm gonna open them up, and I'm going to clamp down on there, and I'm gonna clip them together. And then I'm able to pull this whole thing through and it come out right side out, and without having to use a stick or anything, get all my corners right. So I'm going to do the same thing to the other side as well. So now I'm going to take this over to my ironing board and press everything down. I really like how this is turning out, and I'm going to show you what the next steps are. So now it's time to add our velcro and do our top stitching. So I've got a little piece of velcro right here, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off about 1/2 inch or so of this. Cut off about 1/2 inch, maybe 1 inch of velcro here. Then I'm going to we want to make sure the soft side goes on the back and then the rough side goes on the front. That way it never itches us or itches the kids. And all I'm going to do is take this over to my sewing machine and do an X pattern over the top of it to attach that into place. So I'm going to start over here, put this down, put my little velcro down. Now that I got the velcro on, it's time to do our top stitching. And with this top stitching, we have this hole in the bottom of our cape where we flipped it out. What we're going to do is we're going to turn that inside, and I'm going to stick a little pin in it. And then when we do our top stitching, it should seal off that hole that we have there. So I'm going to just put the pins in right now and start on my top stitching. I want to start at the bottom because that's where the hole is. I want to make sure we do that first. So I'm going to just take this over to the sewing machine. Whenever I do top stitching, I like to do it at about 1/8 of an inch. This is all up to the person though. So I'm going to do mine at about 1/8 of an inch. So I just finished up the top stitching and it came out perfect. And like I said in the beginning of the video, it is a double-sided cape. This is a great project for kids or grandkids, or even for charity projects. If you've liked this video, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and don't be afraid to share it with your friends. As always, I'm going to leave instructions on how to make this and the template in the description below. My name's Teancum, teaching how to sew like a pro. We'll see you here next week at Sew Yeah Quilting.